love supercars, and you love cheap ones that look like they cost a lot. Well, we're gonna break down the best ones that you can afford. And the last one is a Raging Bull that looks and sounds like $1 million. Flames, anyone? It's great to see you guys again. Let's go. Okay, we're always chasing the best used car prices here at Ideal Media. And that's so we can let you guys know the best deals on supercars, luxury cars, trucks, SUVs, sports cars, imports, and even domestics. Ooh, baby. And you wanna know our little secret? It's easy. We could spend days searching every used car website like Cars.com, eBay Motors, and Craigslist, which, as you know, is time consuming when looking for that needle in a haystack. Or we could get it done in minutes with a site called Auto Tempest. And once you get to the site, all you have to do is throw in the make, the model, and then also your zip, and within any distance that you'd like, and click search. So let's look for the cheapest Nissan GTR in the country. And on the left-hand side here, you can see you can refine the search with make, model, trim, also min and max price, and a bunch of other things, including my favorite, transmission. And as you can see, it's pulling eBay listings, it's pulling Cars.com listings, all in this easy-to-use website. It's easily our favorite used car researching site now, and believe it or not, it's how we found every single one of the deals on this list in this video. So we're gonna drop links to all our Auto Tempest searches in the description below. And by clicking on them, you'll see more cheap supercars that are available. So hey, try it out. And if you like it, let anyone know that's looking for their next ideal car in on our little secret. Because now we both know that the best deals are found using Autotempest.com. Why not start with a car that has big screen fame? The Audi R8 is possibly the most well-known supercar purely by being Iron Man's ride of choice. And for good reason. The Audi R8 is based on the same chassis as the Lamborghini Gallardo, which may or may not be on the list later on. Needless to say, the R8 has cemented itself as a bona fide supercar. Plus, the Audi easily outshines most other cars in the looks department with its gorgeous curves and iconic carbon side blades. But the beauty does not stop there. Oh no. The manual versions sport one of the best gated shifters ever in a modern car. It's an ode to a bygone era where speed and emotion dictated the best. And if you still want a manual car in 2020, check out the list of H-pattern cars in this Ideal video. Okay, I can already hear you guys saying, Brad, we get it. It's pretty. Does it go fast though? Excuse me? Yes. The German rockets to 60 miles an hour in less than 3.7 seconds in V10 trim and will blast through the quarter mile in 11.4 seconds. That's as fast as this car, a 2018 AMG GT-R, which is a modern car with F1 technology built into it. So the V10 is definitely the one that you want to get, especially if you want to just shake and bake. But here at Ideal, we like well-rounded cars. And there's this V8 variant that I find to be a more balanced driving experience. Hear me out here. This R8 has a 4.2 liter V8 and it's no slouch either. And because this car weighs less than the V10, it just feels way more like a driver's car. Plus there's no sound that's quite like a straight pipe German V8 rip into redline. Oh my God, that sounds so good. Whichever engine you choose, you're gonna be a winner because all R8s came with all-wheel drive and their power delivery was rear-wheel biased, meaning you could slide its rear end out and drift sideways all day long. Aha, now you can catch my drift, literally. So you're probably saying this car sounds too good to be true, and there's no way that you can afford it. And I hear ya, but these puppies are a lot less money than you might think. Like this 2009 R8 V8 6-speed manual, it just recently sold for $44,200 on eBay with 75 bids. Yeah, that's an incredible value for a supercar and an ideal deal. Oh, and if you're interested in how we find all these awesome deals using Auto Tempest, check out the first couple of lines in the description and the first comment, and we'll have links to all the cheapest supercars that we cover in this video. You might be surprised by just how cheap these things actually are. Let's go. From one German manufacturer to another. Although this time the recipe, well, it includes forced induction. Yeah, I can already hear you under your breath that the 911 Turbo it's not a supercar. And you'd be right. Heck, my dentist drives one, and boring old dentists don't drive supercars. But hold your horses and listen to how many the 997 Turbo has. Yep, a stable of 480 of them rocket this car from 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. Now, I don't know about you, but that is scorching fast. Supercars that cost way more money, like this Ferrari F40, have a hell of a time keeping up. And that's because the legendary Mezger motor that's hanging out back of the 997 Turbo is quite the masterpiece. In fact, it's the engine that powered the legendary 911 GT1 Le Mans car. So you know this thing is tried and true on the racetrack, and it was engineered to be bulletproof from the factory. And remember, this thing doesn't have one, but two snails bolted to the engine. And that can mean one thing and one thing only. More power, baby. Let's go. As a result, there's a ton of 997 turbos driving around with power bumped up to 700 plus horsepower. And even then, it doesn't need much engine work. Now, can we call this thing a supercar? Yeah, I thought so. Oh, and what's that? You want more power? You got it. There are quite a few 997 turbos making 1500 plus horsepower. Yeah, these Mezger motors can handle it. And these things are some of the fastest cars on the planet and will rip from a dig because their high-tech all-wheel drive will put the power down seamlessly. The 997 turbos pushing this much power are usually record cars used for runway racing, meaning they are so fast that they need an airport to get up to speed. And remember, these are 911s, and so they're not all about straight line speed. You are also piloting one of the greatest handling chassis ever designed. Porsche knew exactly what they were doing when they were putting this car together, and it shows. And I put my money where my mouth is because I was so impressed that I bought a 997. And right now is the best time to buy one yourself, because with turbo examples dipping into the 30s, this 911 punches way above its weight in both the looks and power department. And if you snag one of these, you could be embarrassing cars that cost six figures with the German missile that costs about the same as a hybrid Toyota Camry. So Camry or 911 Turbo? Tough choice. Moving on to Maranello, let's chat about the Ferrari 355. When it was first released in the late 90s, it was one of the most beautiful cars Ferrari had ever made. And I think I'm speaking for pretty much everyone here. I love these things. It's a perfect mix of the wedge-shaped cars that Ferrari used to make, blended perfectly with the gentle curves that we've come to know with the more modern Ferraris. However, it gets way better. There is no way that I could mention the 355 without mentioning how it sounds. And oh my God, guys, there is a big difference between thinking, oh, that sounds sweet when you hear a GT350 leave a car show. And the holy crap, I am shaking when you hear a 355 wail like a phantom into the distance. Yeah, the reason the 355 is able to produce such a sonorous symphony is due to its radical 5 valves per cylinder design, which allowed it to breathe a lot more than its predecessors. It's no wonder it shook the supercar world when it was first released. The 375 horsepower 3.4 liter V8 helps scoot this bad boy to 60 miles an hour in 4.6 seconds in the manual trim. And if you opt for the F1, which is the automatic, it takes 0.1 seconds more. But wait, 4.6 seconds, that's slower than the 997 Turbo and the R8 that we've already talked about. How's that a supercar? Well, remember guys, this is a freaking Ferrari. It may not be the fastest 0 to 60 time, but ticks all of the boxes in the looks and sound department. And did I mention the sounds? Yes, that is intoxicating, but a word of caution on the 355s, they're a bit expensive to maintain. These older Ferraris need the entire engine out to do maintenance like timing belt, and the bills can add up quickly. But if that doesn't scare you, then I say go for it. Examples of the 355s can be had for pretty cheap, starting around 55K for this nice yellow one. And yes, that isn't exactly cheap, but that is cheap for a Ferrari that looks like this. And now it's time to hop over to Japan because it's time for that honorable mention. Yep, this cheap supercar hails from the land of the rising sun, the legendary Nissan GTR. Now, before we talk about why this is a great supercar, let's talk history for a second. When the older Nissan R32 GTR was released, it dominated racing series in both Japan and Australia so badly that the organizers had to try to keep other racers from leaving. Yeah, if you were to look up legend in the dictionary, the R32 GTR would be next to it. And this is around the time when the GTR coined the name Godzilla because it was simply unstoppable. The next couple of iterations of the GTR spanked many other racing series in similar fashion. And when the R35 Nissan GTR was released, the world was waiting for the successor to the infamous Godzilla. And boy, did Nissan ever deliver. The R35 GTR came out in the late 2000s and was equipped with 480 horsepower coming from a twin turbocharged V6 mounted in the front of the car. And later iterations of the GTR packed even more punch, with the beautiful Nismo version putting out over 600 horsepower. That's enough power to make it faster than the McLaren 600 LT and the Porsche 911 GT3 around the Nürburgring, which we all know is the world's benchmark for performance cars. Here's the best part though. Since the GTR is a Japanese car, reliability is through the roof. So you can drive the hell out of it and not have to do too much in maintenance. With the GTR, you can have your cake and eat it too. Plus, there are plenty of GTRs for sale since they've been selling for over a decade. Almost a little too long for this current generation. And if you find an early example, you can find them in the 30s, which may be the performance bargain of the century. But quick question, do you think the R35 is or isn't a supercar? Let us know by voting up here. Can't wait to see the results. Yes, named after a breed of fighting bulls. The Lamborghini Gallardo lives up to its name with a vicious V10 making around 500 horsepower, enough to fire this car from 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds and run the quarter mile in 12.4 seconds. The Italians take their performance seriously. Wow. Now, this set the performance benchmark when it first came out, and the world took notice. This was the best-selling Lamborghini of all time, selling around 14,000 units. And that is a lot of Gallardos. How did Lamborghini manage that? Well, you see, as I mentioned earlier, the Gallardo shares the same chassis as the Audi R8, bringing the cost down. It also shares a few other components, such as the engine, which is found in the V10 Audi R8, further bringing the cost down. Essentially, you could call it the R8's Italian twin, except this one is a much better looking twin. Much like the Ferrari 355, the Lamborghini's simple yet gorgeous lines stand out in traffic, and a timeless design like this never goes out of style. In fact, the Gallardo was the precursor to the current Lamborghini Huracan, which the entire internet knows and loves. You know, the cars that you can toss on a couple of turbos and it's so fast it rotates the earth in the wrong direction. Seriously, the Huracan is a brilliant car, but that's another topic for another video. And since there were 14,000 Gallardos built, there's quite a few used ones to choose from, with first-year models coming in at under $60,000 if you look hard enough. Now, every car that I showed you a price for today had a clean title, unlike the girl you might have riding shotgun with you if you end up buying one of these. So, which one is your favorite? Do you like the Audi R8 because it has big screen fame, the Ferrari for its exotic noises it makes, or the Lambo because, well, it's a Lambo? Let us know down in the comments, and while you're at it, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe if you're a car enthusiast, and seriously, go check out the links in the description and the first comment to see our favorite cheap supercars on Auto Tempest. You guys rock, and please go check out a couple of our other videos that I'm sure you'll find entertaining and educational. Oh, and as always, keep living that ideal lifestyle.